This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted as always to be joined by Mr. KALLE SAUERLAND.
How are you, KUGAN?
All right, mate?
You know I can never tell you where I am, KUGAN. You know the rules. You know the rules.
Why? Always a bit, yeah.
Just a bit here, bit there, isn't it? You know?
Just a bit here, a bit there.
Keep people guessing.
Black background, guessing. Very strategic as well.
But it's clear I'm not on the beach. It's clear I'm not on the beach.
Very neutral where you are. Look, blank background.
Absolutely. You don't want to see what's around me.
No? Okay. Right, okay. So let's get straight into it. News this morning that you've obviously released that WASSERMAN Boxing and Channel 5 have announced an exclusive multi-event deal to revolutionise free-to-air boxing in the UK. That was from your press release, by the way.
Fantastically written by myself.
Yeah, talk to me about this. Obviously a huge deal for WASSERMAN.
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, we said a year ago when the big WASSERMAN Team Sauerland deal was announced, said, don't, you know, that's a big announcement. There was a lot of hype around that announcement, but it was really just a business deal, wasn't it? And it was to, I said, judge us in a year. I said, see what we do in a year. Here we are today, massive day. I think it's great news for the British fight fans. You know, we're very excited. It's the biggest free-to-air platform there is in the UK for boxing. Huge numbers on there, often over 1 million viewers. And that's fantastic. And it's fantastic for our very young and exciting stable, which will surely grow in the next weeks, even further. You know, we're delighted to be sitting here with some exciting dates now to film, you know, and you look at the names, you know, whether it's Josh Kelly, whether it's Nathan Gorman, whether it's Harlem EUBANK, Linus Adolphe, you have to go on and on. You know, we've got very exciting people coming through. Matty Harris, the big heavyweight, you know, you've got Brad Pauls, you've got Chloe Watson training up with Ricky Hatton, Hosea Stewart, you know, there's lots and lots of names, you know, not even mentioning Razor Ali, one of my favourites out of London, who's a very exciting prospect. There's lots and lots of names out there, and there'll be more to joining them as well. So very, very excited.
Okay, so yeah, you listed a lot of your talent and your prospects there, but I mean, the name in your roster, obviously, on everyone's lips at the moment, Chris Eubank Jr. His deal is kind of, I suppose, different. Could he possibly feature on one of these shows in the near future?
You know, currently Chris is with Sky, and we're delighted to have, you know, access to Sky dates as well. And we're, you know, we're going to put on some fantastic big shows up there as well. You know, it's you know, the Channel 5 platform for us is so important in terms of also creating these big fights. So I think that, you know, that once you're on free-to-air, and by the way, in our history of our company, we've had many free-to-air deals, especially on mainland Europe. You know, if I think about the big German deals or the Scandinavian deals, where you've had millions and millions of viewers. I mean, we attracted 22 million viewers in Germany to certain events, you know, and those are the sort of levels. I'm not saying we're going to go straight to 22 million, but I think that's the vision, that we bring in a bit of that. And you know, obviously there's been some great fights on Channel 5, and we'll continue to do that. And hopefully, I think that we can add a certain amount of, let's say, exposure to the channel. There is such potential there, and I think, you know, with the whole Viacom background to it, it's a beast. You know, it's a massive enterprise, and we're very proud to be leading that flag, or putting our flag there.
KALLE, one thing I suppose people would notice about kind of Channel 5, and it's great that they have been involved in boxing for quite some years now. Like you said, those kind of numbers, free to air. People don't even have to have a smart telly. They can just watch it if they've got the old-fashioned 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there we go.
Not even a 10 count.
But say, not to use the expression kind of they've come in and come out, but obviously they had their deal with Hennessy. They've had deals with other, or being affiliated with other promoters. But what's the key here to kind of maintain it and keep it going with Channel 5?
I think it's creating you know, consistency in programming, you know, and that's something that, you know, we'll bring a unique look to it, a certain look, and to keep that going on a consistent basis. I think you need the resources to do that, and also the stable to do that. And that's something that, you know, we're going to invest in as well, especially in the stable. But I think to start with, we have some fantastic names there already. You know, I've just said the names. I don't need to hype them up again. But those names all have amazing storylines to come. We know it. You know it. You follow the sport closer than most people. And you know the storylines for Josh Kelly. It's sort of make or break now. You know, it was very much hyped up by Sky. Obviously, that disappointing loss. He's been working super hard with Adam Booth. He wants to put that right. We all know what he can do. Everyone in Britain knows what he can do. But he's got to step up. And that's what a platform to do that on. You look at Nathan Gorman. You know, he took that big fight with Dubois. He's got a big fight to come back now on Sky. That's also a platform for him where he can, you know, there's big fights out there, whether it's a Fabio Wardley potentially, you know, which is a lot talked about at the moment. You've got Harlem Eubank, you know, obviously someone who's, it's a year for him to step it up. I spoke with him recently, and, you know, after his last fight, he's had 2 quick wins, sort of to bring him back. And he's one that we think can go very far. But there's only one way to find out. We can talk and hype them up, but, you know, it's all about being thrown in those fights where they have to step up and prove it. And you know, it's very exciting. You know, Linus Adofia obviously won the purse bid recently for that cracker against Denzel Bentley. I mean, that's a fantastic fight. You know, whatever platform it's on, but hey, on a platform where you've got, you know, so many viewers, I think it's a great place for either man. You know, obviously we'll be back in Linus, he's our man, but Denzel's a great fighter as well. And what a great place for those two to really come out on the UK scene, you know, and the winner goes on and can take on the world. And that's something where you want eyeballs on, especially at that stage of the career. And, you know, I think that you can do very, very big events on Channel 5, that's for sure.
And I think, obviously, as you continue to grow that stable at Wasserman, attracting more fighters, it's a very good selling point, the fact that you have that deal as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, dates help. Don't forget, I mean, I wouldn't say that that's going to change it overnight, because we signed a hell of a lot of fighters in a very short space of time. Once again, I said a year ago, judge us in a year when we joined forces with Wasserman. And, you know, from a UK perspective, forget what we're doing outside of the UK. We've got a fantastic corporation in Germany with Probella, and we've done some great things in Eastern Europe, in Northern Europe. But from a UK perspective, since the announcement, you know, we've gone and done a great deal with Sky. EUBANK's the new face of Sky. Fantastic. You know, we're going to do some box office events there this year, working very well with Boxer on the co-promotions. We've got a string of those. So working excellently with Matchroom and DAZN, especially on Hrgovic. So we are all over the place in terms of providing opportunities and that for the stable. But this, of course, for me is something that makes your mouth water as a promoter, wanting to put on big shows and getting the young talent, especially the exciting talent. And let's look at it, you know, in the UK we have those, we know the big names, we know the Tyson Furies, the Joshuas, the Whites, the Chris Eubanks, Kell Brook back on the scene, you know. But those, aside from that, it's now the battle of who's coming through, yeah. And I think that anyone coming through has a great opportunity on Channel 5 to really take it to take the scene, you know, because let's not forget those names that I just mentioned, as let's say the big names. They're not going to be around for that long a time, one way or the other. And you know, with the exception of I think EUBANK, who's got quite a few years left in him, I think there's some big fights to be made over the heavyweights, undoubtedly, and we saw a great one announced yesterday. But it's not in the dusk time. it's coming. It's slowly coming to an end, which by the way will end with a massive crescendo of great fights like we're seeing in April at Wembley Stadium. Like we're going to see with Usyk against Joshua. But there is a next generation, and that isn't a pun at Chris Eubank. There is a next generation coming through, and you can look also outside our stable. There's some great boxers in Britain at the moment. If you look at Conor Benn coming through, who's recently been touted to go against Chris Eubank Jr. You look at the likes of Buatsi, but Riyadpour. There's some very, very exciting names out there as well. So I just think that. If you get eyeballs on yourself and you're making that performance, let's take Linus Adofia again, for example, against Bentley. For both of them, if they're doing that on a big stage with so many viewers, and it will be a great fight, by the way. That is, if you look at everyone in the industry knows it's a great fight, and that with the right amount of spectators to win that, of course, is different to winning it and having maybe not even six figures in spectators, So that's what you really want at that stage of your career.
So from this press release, the deal was secure 5 fights initially.
Kug, I'm really impressed you've read this press release and you're analysing it in detail, because normally you'd read the headline and then fire questions. I'm really.
No, I'm all about the facts.
Change in reporting style. About the facts, okay.
I'm all about the facts.
Reading off his iPhone.
I'll tell you why I'm reading it now. It's because you sent it to me 5 minutes ago. I'm reading it, I'm going along.
It only got signed last night.
No, fair enough. Question here for you. Obviously, when we're used to seeing Channel 5 shows, we're kind of used to seeing just the main event being broadcasted with maybe the undercard being put somewhere else. Is there any plans for maybe to have the whole night put on Channel 5 that starts at like a normal broadcast time of 7 o'clock that runs straight through on Channel 5?
I think you've got to be realistic about it. Channel 5 isn't a sports platform, and we're very lucky that they believe in boxing and they've backed boxing. And that's a discussion with Channel 5 that we're going to have and we've been having on how to optimise the card. And I think once again, I don't think we're going to change much in terms of the way Channel 5 does, because I think they do a fantastic job. But they've got so many platforms, as under the Viacom banner, where one can look to also bring in other portions of the show. Of course, as a promoter, especially when you're putting on big undercards, expensive undercards, I have to throw in the money word there, you want to see that investment at least be shown somewhere. So 100%, it's also something that they said they're very, very keen on, because it is always a journey, and it's more exciting as well for the broadcaster as well, and they're fantastic in terms of their knowledge in house on boxing, and that's something that you've quite what's the word, KUGAN, quite well assessed in that release. So that's something, of course, we're looking at. And I think the format, unfortunately, on Channel 5 itself is never going to be a case of, we're going to go do 5 hours of boxing, see the whole undercard live on Channel 5. That we're realistic about that. It was the same in Germany with the big broadcasters on free to air. You don't get that time as boxing. There's a few other things that they show and obviously do very well with. But the nice thing is, those things before will bring us in a big lead into the show, which isn't sports related. The fantastic thing on Sky is you go in off a Premier League match, the numbers are going to do well. The difference with Channel 5 is you come in with a completely different demographic. They might be watching Driving Miss Daisy, and they might have nodded off and left the box on, and then wake up and it's boxing and think, wow, what a great sport. And that's what we need. We need to be growing the sport. And I said at the time, and it was, when we announced the WASSERMAN Team Sauerland deal, I said, we'll take it to the next level. Now, I know people I don't take myself too seriously. When I say take it to the next level, this is an example of it. This is an example of what we're trying to do, and that's to reach new horizons and you know, I think that there is a lot of juice to be got out of Channel 5 in terms of the reach. I think that it's great at the moment. It's like I said, if you look at the average numbers, it's the biggest of all the boxing platforms in the UK. But the question is, how far can we take that? You know, and I think you said as well, what can you do different? I said consistency. It's, you know, sticking with those names on there. Yeah. And you mustn't forget that the names that Channel 5 has had on there already, and the numbers that they've got for them is, you know, is fantastic. I mean, you know, EUBANK Junior, Fury, you know, there's been some fantastic names on that platform already, and that's something that, you know, we believe will continue. But I think there's a sustainability that Channel 5 in the future can keep them on the platform for a long time.
Mm. So yeah, effectively, somebody could be watching or sit down to watch Driving Miss Daisy, nod off.
So I know that's one of your favourites, KUGAN. I know that's one of your favourites.
Then it comes back to you. Imagine they woke up and just saw a shot of you prancing about ringside, like off your head, celebrating a win. It was still that programme anyway, couldn't they? That's how you.
Well, I wouldn't say if they were watching Driving Miss Daisy. If they were watching, I don't know, Mission Impossible or something, or James Bond, then they might think it's the same programme. No, but no, it's a very valid point, KUGAN. Very valid. That is the intention of how to keep the viewers, is me jumping up and down. Yeah, I know that's all good value for money, but I think the real value for money here is our fights like Bentley. Hopefully they wake up and there's a war going on in a ring, of course, and that I like that, KUGAN.
When's the first date? Do you know that?
The first date will be announced in the next days. So,
in the next day?
In the next days, you know, S at the end, S on the end of days, but it will be in May.
In May, okay. Before I do let you go, I do want to kind of talk to you, or finish off by talking to you about Chris EUBANK Jr. I've done probably 3 interviews.
I've been hiding.
What's that?
I've been hiding. I haven't done one piece on him. Not one piece.
I've
Since the Brooks fight.
The last 3 weeks, I've done like probably about 3 or 4 different interviews with Chris.
Yeah. So I've seen you since Cardiff.
Yeah.
So first piece since Cardiff, yeah.
So you can run, but you can't hide.
Especially not at 8 a.m. in the morning.
So 2 things really, and it's a question.
I thought you'd say 3 things, but go on.
Why 3 things?
I just think there's 3 UK names being bandied about, but never mind. We'll go with 2. I'm happy. That will get my job done quicker.
Well, okay, all right. Okay.
People who are watching this tonight, this is 8 a.m. Me and KUGAN have never done a piece at 8 a.m. in the morning.
No, we haven't, to be honest. No. I got up this morning for you.
I've had 1 espresso. That's it. I'm normally running on 3 or 4 by now.
Right, so we're talking 3 UK opponents.
Yeah, we'll play a game here. Go on.
So, Kell Brook, Conor Benn. I'm going to go Liam Williams.
Liam Williams? We just
not Liam Williams, Liam Smith, sorry.
Look, I'll throw one in there. Liam Smith, fantastic fight as well. He's got a tough fight coming up. That potentially is a big fight as well. He gets through. He's got a real tough challenge there. I like Beefy. It's a tough fight.
John Ryder?
John Ryder, yeah. John Ryder, another good one. You're throwing them out now. Now you've gone to 4 and 5. I thought you could. I'm surprised you're not coming up with BJS. You know, that's the one I thought you'd be questioning me on. But you must have inside information.
No, hold on a minute. No, yeah, Billy Joe Saunders is, to be fair, the pick of all of those names. Yeah. But just because we don't know Billy Joe's situation, that's why I didn't kind of.
Yeah, no. But it's just that normally when I get the messages, like, could you comment on this? It's always got Billy Joe on there somewhere. So I'm surprised. But look, you just thrown 2 in, John Ryder, Liam Smith. I'm putting them on the list as well. Yeah, bloody hell, I'll call you for matchmaking, Tim. It's fantastic stuff, cool. I've got 2 new ideas already for the day. But joking aside, look, let's go through them. You know, I think with Conor, I think that's very much on their shoe at the moment. Let's say the ball is in their court, because it seems to me, if I look at it, you've got Conor who called him out. Then you've got Eddie who says, no, it's the wrong fight, wrong time. I think that was with you. I didn't see it. I saw a quote on it, but I think it was with you. So you should know that, or with somewhere anyway. So definitely saw Eddie said it wasn't the right time. So that's very much an egg. That fight, by the way, is an iconic fight. It's, you know, done the right way at Old Trafford. It could be, you know, it would open it up for every plus 40-year-old who remembers the old days. It would be huge. But is it the right time? The right time for us, absolutely. We're ready. We're ready.
Can I just say one thing, just to clarify?
Yeah, I don't, just quickly, I don't know if it's the right time for him, but that's not my business. I'm not, you know, Conor's promoter. I think he's a great guy, great fighter, you know, up-and-coming fighter. Is it the right time? I would say one little thing just quickly, just on my, let's say, are you better off taking a step-up fight, a come-out fight, a big-level fight for a lot of money, or risking it in a big-level fight against some Mexican? And you get, if you're going to win, you're going to win either way. Or if you lose, you're going to lose, but you're going to earn a lot of money losing. So everyone has to roll that dice at some time in their careers, whatever their career is. Obviously, boxing is a slightly different angle to it, but it's the same principle. You have a point where you do have to step up, and of course, I don't think there's a bigger fight out there for Conor Benn on the domestic scene than that fight. But is it the right time? Down to them.
Okay, so after Chris's win over Liam Williams, and he called out Chris, I spoke to Conor Benn, I think 3 days after, and he alluded to the fact that there may have been conversations that have already taken place. When I then asked Eddie Hearn, I think on the same day, about those conversations, he said that there hasn't really been any talks.
Yeah.
So,
I spoke to, and that's probably true.
Which one?
I think no, I don't think. Let me explain. So I think there was some conversations between, I don't know, friends of Conor's or Conor's team and people around Chris, whatever. But ultimately, between the two promotional setups, there hasn't been any discussions.
Right. Okay.
So let's say I'll take the diplomatic way out there. I think Conor's telling the truth, and Eddie's telling the truth. So I would say that, you know, I said to and I agree with Eddie. We talk about it in the next few days and see if it's even an option. I don't know. We're not sitting back and waiting for it. But at the same time, of course, if they turn around and said it's interesting, then we would sit down and have a discussion.
Okay. Obviously, the biggest sticking point with the Kell Brook situation is the weight.
I think there's hold on. I think there's a few. There's a couple here.
Right, a couple, but
listen, the weight. Yeah, I've heard the weight. Yeah, come on, let's be serious. Yeah, I'd like to see Kell on the scale today. Or maybe in a week's time, and then let's do something. Let's put them both on the scales on the same day, and then let's have a discussion on weight. Right? Point one. Point two. I think the real discussion is money. Right? Let's not beat around the bush here. Yeah. So, and he said it himself. He said, "What did he say?" He said, "Don't. I'm not retiring. Show me the money." You know. So, you know, that's what it. Yeah, that's what it is. And I get the weight, but. And once again, you can look back at the Golovkin fight and say he went up to 160, it weren't good and all that. He was fighting Golovkin in his peak. And by the way, Kell had a good couple of rounds against Golovkin at his peak. Yeah. So I'm hearing you on weight. That's ultimately, I don't need to make the weight, thankfully. I've miserably failed at 160. I've miserably failed at 158. But Chris does. So I can only say in that negotiation what Chris is prepared to do, and Kell and his father will only be able to say what they can do. That's not for a promoter to force to say whatever. We can only say whatever. That's the fair way. And if they both decide that that's okay for them, and this is why I say the money, because it will be around what the financial package is. We are not talking, to be very clear here, we're not talking about asking, you know, I've seen people try to make fights at crazy weights, and I've seen boxers go through all sorts. And some of it isn't good for the sport. Let's put it that way. This is not one of them. And you do enough with Kel to know that it's like this is not a weight difference where we're talking about, you know, craziness. Yeah. No, this is not asking someone to change full weight classes or something. Yeah. So we also know that is a big fight. So it will come down to what the money is and whether both sides are happy with the weight. You know, that's what it is. But it's not for the promoters or the advisors to just go to agree that. I would never say to someone, I've got to make that way. I said, this is the way we can do. And that's the way they can do. And hopefully that intersects together with what's on the table.
I mentioned the weight element first because that is the thing that from each other, and that's from Chris's interview from 2 days ago, where the first thing he was referring to. The money is obviously, that's a given that has to be sorted in the right way, but the weight has been spoken about on numerous occasions since since EUBANK Williams and also since Kell Brook and Amir Khan.
On a side note, you know what I find funny is I said Kell Brook as an opponent sometime last year, and he got a horrible reaction. Now it's like, oh, that's a great fight to make. That's the fight to make. I said, same thing about Conor Benn. I said, in the distant future, I did say distant future on Twitter. I think I tweeted it back in December when Benn's last, I think, end of November, December-ish. Yeah. And it also got a horrible reaction. And here we are talking about these two fights. I should be the weatherman. Call me Michael Fish. Call me Michael Fish.
Stick. Shame on them.
Right? Shame on them. Shame on them. I love this. I love the stick. I love the stick. I love the stick. Right. There's not too much of it.
So here's how we're going to end this, right? So I'm gonna list those opponents, to you, 5 opponents, and we're going to play a game called What's That Percentage? So you tell me the likely chances, doesn't mean it's going to happen, the likely chances in percentage form that these fights could take place.
Hold on, this is quite tricky because it's 8 a.m. I have to keep on to repeat that. So I'm asking again, I've got to guess the 5 percentages. I've got to divide them up equally though in 100%. Is that correct? Or 100%. Do they not? So they have to add up to 100%.
Well, yeah, of course, yes.
Well, no,
no, they don't have to add up to 100. No,
because there are other things like the belts, for example.
They don't have to add up. It's not a poll. It's not a poll.
It's not a poll. Okay. Then we can, because I was just about to say that we haven't discussed the belts. That is also a route that we are, of course, that's the goal of this year, is to become world champion. But none of these fights, all these fights are probably bigger fights in the world title, but they're not world title fight, which is sort of on the agenda.
Okay. Well, it's just a game.
Let's do it. Let's do the 5 Brits.
Right. Okay. So let's start with. Right, and I'm mentioning this person because Chris mentioned him to me on the weekend.
Yeah.
Ryder, obviously off the win against Danny Jacobs, that seemed to be a fight that interested Chris Eubank Jr.
Fantastic win for him, by the way. Congrats, John. Super win. Not a discussion held yet. I think if there's an opportunity around with a belt around that fight, I think it's more makeable. I think for John's perspective as well. Currently, 10 to 15.
10 to 15%.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well, you've just told me this idea in this interview.
Well, okay. 10 to 15%.
And I'll also tell you, we'll also do status. No discussions held yet.
Okay, 10 to 15%, that's fine. Okay.
Like that.
Liam Smith.
Just a second. Phone a friend. Right. Liam Smith. What's the date of his fight?
April 30th.
On the basis that probably not the next fight. I'd say that's too late.
It doesn't have to be the next fight. I'm just saying in the immediate
I'll make it. No. He comes through that fight high. 25, 30%, 35%.
You call that high?
don't mean there's other names
How
in there.
can you get
right?
high on 25%?
But you've given me, listen, I'm not going to sit here and talk shit. You've given me 5 names. So logically, they've got to be around the 20% mark each. You know, that's the way I'm thinking. So I can't give them more. I don't want to go 60% on the one, and then like, you know.
No, but Kalle, can
I will say with Liam Smith, in the background there has been a discussion.
Okay.
Ooh.
Kalle, can I just tell you one simple rule of the game, which I did tell you at the start, yeah? This is my game. It's called What's That Percentage? All the 5 totals don't have to come to 100%.
Well, I know that, but it's unrealistic for me to sit there with 5 names. It's 100% in percentage terms, and you're asking me to put percentage on each one. I still like to do it the pie chart way. I'm a bit of a nerd like that.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you what, you just make your own fucking rules up. How about
that?
No,
I'm not. I'm just doing it. I want to make it honest.
Right, okay. So we're going 20 to 25% on a Liam Smith.
Yes.
Probabilities and percentages.
Not next fight.
Right. Let's go Conor Benn first.
Okay. I'm going to change the rules here a bit.
You can do that.
If you're talking next fight, I'd also say around the 20%, but that's boring for the viewers. I'd say, does that fight get made?
Yes.
Ever?
That's the game.
90%.
90%. We like that.
That's hot.
It's not got to be the next fight. It's just
No. It can be, but that's down to them.
90%. Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on.
Status, a little flirting.
Moving on. At number 2, we have Kell Brook.
The special one. Was it special one or special K? I'm not sure which one it is.
Actually,
special.
I think called both. I think it was special K, then it's a special one.
Okay. Right. Okay. I would go 55%.
55% of it ever happening.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Mainly down to what you've just sort of stirred things up with the weight. If you've clearly been closer to Kell than I have, and you seem to think that's a real issue. So we'll see.
Can you stop making up like those kind of interviews from your boy Chris? Okay. And number 1, Billy Joe Saunders.
In the 90s. You know it's going to happen.
Well, I hope it happens.
Well, it's not going to happen. I was going to say it's not going to happen. I was about to say it's not going to happen this century. But no, it will happen. It's simply too big of an elephant in the room to ignore.
Okay.
And I said recently, forget all the, the back and forths and, calling names and this, that, and the other. And I wouldn't even say the genuine dislike, the genuine absolute hatred. The difference is, I always remember a story Holyfield told me, and I was doing a lot, promoted Holyfield's last few fights, and he told me a story. He said, look, I got in a lift the day, it was 2 days after he'd had his ear bitten off by Tyson. He got in a lift in New York. They were doing a press thing. Got in a lift, and there was a load of Japanese tourists in the lift. Oh, Mr. Holyfield, Mr. Holyfield. Tyson gets in on the next floor. They look at each other, nod to each other. The Japanese are going crazy in the lift, thinking, oh my God. And it's what Vander told me himself. They get out of the lift, and he looks at them and he said, do you think we're going to beat each other up in front of you lot for no money? It's not going to happen. The difference between Billy Joe and Chris, if they saw each other in the street, I wouldn't like to be on that street at that time without any love. That's a genuine one. That's a genuine one. And that, but forget all that. It's about the first fight. For me, as a boxing fan, look at that fight and tell me you don't want to see it again. It's got this element, because the way the first 6, or if you rule of thumb here, but first 6 went to Billy Joe, second 6, let's say, went to EUBANK. You want to see the fight again. You want to see it's a natural in any sport, which ends when a contest ends like that, and you know, that's I think that people forget about when we talk about Billy Joe and Chris, and you know, Chris saying it, Billy Joe saying that, and you know, the reactions. It's huge. It's outside of let's say the big UK heavyweight fights at the moment. It's the biggest blockbuster out there.
Okay, well, I just want to say that was one of the most poorly constructed improv games that I think I've ever done.
I didn't think it was bad. I didn't even. I think it was my 50-50. You know, so I didn't vote. I used my phone a friend.
The rules all the way through it. That was it.
Yeah. Ask the audience. Bit difficult.
Audience. Phone a friend. You phoned a friend.
Put your comments down below. I'm always told to look at the comments after my interviews. I still haven't worked out how to do it. I can never do it on the phone. Someone told me I've got to go on YouTube and actually look at the thing. I normally get it off. I look at yours off Twitter and then, you know, continue watching.
Well, sometimes go on YouTube. Other times, if you're in a good mood, don't go on YouTube because.
Oh no, I love the comments.
Everyone loves the comments. Right, Kalle, appreciate your time as always. Yeah, we'll catch up soon. Congratulations on your deal. Very happy for you.
Thank you.
And yeah, let's see what's next for Chris Eubank Jr. Plenty of options there by the looks of it. So
looking forward to it, Kug.
Top man. Thank you very much.